Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala, kai me hi. Tangi tauwa me. Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot.
Mirchi FM, bon julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
.500 teenage pregnancies recorded in Fiji every year. And Solomon Islands suspends Fiji Airways flights. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. A 34-year-old man is dead and another admitted in hospital from a horrific road accident in Nandi. The two men were in a private car that collided with a 10-wheeler truck at Malolo. Savara Tambor reports.
Traffic on this busy stretch came to a crawl this morning as police and other road officials directed traffic on the Queen's Highway. At the scene, motorists saw the mangled remains of a private car which is understood to have veered onto the opposite side of the road and slammed into an oncoming truck. Police spokesperson Inspector Atunesa Sokomori says the impact killed the 34-year-old driver of the private car.
The driver, unfortunately, was pronounced dead by staff at the Nandi Hospital, while the passenger is still admitted at the hospital.
The driver of the 10-wheeler and his two passengers who were heading towards Singatoka were treated for minor injuries. The truck driver is understood to have tried to avoid hitting the oncoming car but couldn't do so.
The way we see it, the private vehicle was challenged to have crossed each lane towards the oncoming lane where it hit the oncoming 10-wheeler truck.
After the collision, the truck veered off the road, brought down an electric pole and ended up on the side of the road.
That's it. And again, we advise the drivers, the motorists who usually come along this stretch of road in Malolo and Nandi to be careful and please drive within speed limit.
The accident has prompted police to issue more safety alerts and advise motorists to take breaks if they are tired. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
There's a new manual out for presiding officers in the 2014 elections. The operations and training document is for 20 people who will train polling station presiding officers, assistant presiding officers and polling venue coordinators. Trainers will be briefed in the conduct of polling and counting procedures to pass on to presiding officers and polling day workers. There will be 60 trainers who will in turn train 4,000 polling staff over the coming weeks. This is part of the European Union's support to the Fijian Elections Office with more than $2 million worth of technical assistance and training support. Each year, close to 500 babies are delivered at the country's largest hospital to teenage mothers. Head of the maternity unit at the Colonial War Memorial Hospital, Dr. James Fong, is concerned that girls as young as 14 years old are getting pregnant. Shireen Lata finds out the reason behind this.
Ineffective awareness campaigns and lack of support from families seems to be the main reasons behind increase in adolescent pregnancy in Fiji.
Many of them also have a smaller body weight and they may not be able to sustain the pregnancy well, so they at increased risk of bad outcomes.
Given this situation, the Health Ministry has now established the Adolescent Health Unit, where peer groups are trained as counsellors in giving out informative messages to the younger generation.
Children nowadays, like they gone more advanced, not like in our time. They're more mature at a very young age. And all that, I think it contributes to teenage pregnancy. And just to top it up, I think the parents too, they need to supervise their children.
They don't need their parents' guidance or their parents' teaching. And they think that they know what they're doing.
Parents are once again urged to play a vital role in educating their children about the negative effects of being a young parent.
The type of outcomes or the type of cases that I'm seeing in my practice over the last few years, I don't think there's been much change in dealing with the adverse impact of adolescent pregnancy.
The ministry is now working closely with NGOs and others to address this issue. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
A farmer from Ratuma is admitted at the CWM hospital with serious injuries after an accident on the island. The 23-year-old was airlifted to Suva yesterday. Police say the victim was at a drinking party at Mutusa village and drove his motorcycle to drop a friend. He was later found on Oinafa Coastal Road next to his bike with injuries to his body. In a separate incident, a 20-year-old tertiary student of Nawaka Nandi is in critical condition at the CWM hospital. The victim followed his ex-girlfriend to a house and upon arrival, he was questioned, then allegedly assaulted by her brother and his workmate. The student was airlifted to CWM hospital yesterday. Fiji Airways' flight to Honiara has been suspended after the Solomon Islands national airline was denied entry to Nadi over the weekend. Solomon Islands Director George Satu said there are pending issues of rights that need to be addressed prior to the Fiji Airways request for an additional service to be introduced. Fiji Airways said it is working hard to reroute its customers on alternative routes. Civil Aviation Minister Ayaside Qayyum said the responsibility of the dispute rested with Solomon Islands and their actions has given Fiji no choice but to respond. Syed Qayyum said there has been a disagreement over sharing the direct route, but Fiji had anticipated that the dispute could be settled in the normal commercial manner. Still to come on FBC News, Sanganga economy struggling despite cane crushing season.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Fatul Kola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The 2014 cane crushing season hasn't helped business in Sanganga Vanolevu. Sanganga's economy, which depends heavily on the sugar industry, has struggled this year. Ritika Pratap has the story.
Businesses in Sanganga are facing the same fate. Lack of economic activity for the last 6 months of the year and very little profit.
Now we have just slowly, it's a slow movement. Yeah. We can't not have been in a bigger profits and all this margin.
The system is very poor in Sanganga. The labor are not here, that's why can't find farmers. They don't find the laborers here to cut their cane because not much labor, so that they can't afford to pay for them.
That's good. When the crushing of cane begins, it's a bit okay.
This town is still developing. Sometimes business is good, but other times not all of our food parcels are sold.
Many of these men have been in business for about 5 to 10 years. They all have ideas on how to kickstart the Sanganga economy.
There is no bank service here. Bank service is a major one because most of them, they have to run from here to get the money from there. So they buy from Lamasa rather than buying from us. They say, oh, in one run we just cover it.
We need about street lights, market, some carrier stand and some taxi stands.
Government should put any factories or anything that people can work from. The bank facilities like the civil servant facing problem. Travel from teachers, civil servants. They're traveling from Sanganga to Lambasa town just for withdrawing money.
Sanganga isn't officially a town, but it's the only urban location in northern Vanuatu. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
A new mini hydro generating 700 kilowatts of power will generate electricity for the whole of Taveuni in the near future. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says this will improve the lives of all Fijians on the island. Vasita Kotewasawasa reports.
Generators and benzene lamps will soon be a thing of the past for the people of Taveuni following the groundbreaking ceremony for a new mini hydro on the island. Guests joined Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama, who officiated at the groundbreaking ceremony for the project at the weekend.
It's a milestone for the people of the North, yet another sign of my government's commitment to their welfare and a cornerstone of our Look North policy. We have a vision to transform the North, to extend to the people of Taveuni and Honolulu the same level of services Fijians enjoy on Viti level.
The construction of the mini hydro costs $15 million. It's funded by the Chinese government and construction is expected to be completed in 16 months. Bainimarama took the opportunity to speak to members of the community who attended the event.
These people are still trying to press the same old buttons to instill fear in ordinary people about imagined threats that simply don't exist. We all know what they are. The supposed threat to Itauke land, the supposed threat to Christianity, the supposed threat to the educational opportunities of the Itauke. None of them are legitimate.
Bainimarama reminded the people in Taveuni that the truth in all this is in the 2013 Constitution.
What does it say about the protection of Itauke land? What does it say about the secular state? What does it say about access to education? And when you do, you will soon realize that there is a deliberate attempt taking place to frighten you when there's no need to be frightened. The supreme law of our nation protects you, just as it protects every Fijian.
Bainimarama reiterated that the government will work to ensure that those living in the north will benefit from services that those in Viti Levu enjoy. Posita Kote Wasa, FBC News.
Germans all over the world were very proud to celebrate their country's victory at the FIFA World Cup this morning, and Fiji was no different. Ellen Stolz has more.
Germany, you just made my day.
Germany's win was the best birthday gift for German Fabian Randerath.
So yeah, for me it's a good, it's like a birthday present. That is, since it's my birthday today, I have double to celebrate.
He feels that teamwork was Germany's strongest advantage in their victory.
Yeah, I watched the game and I really think they did a good job all throughout the tournament. And as they said already on the social media, Germany plays as a team. They don't just have one star like other teams, which makes them also very vulnerable. But I think it's just the teamwork that made them stronger.
German-born Thomas Gunkelman has lived in Fiji for 2 years now, and he says he's very happy with the win.
I'm so happy. I'm very proud of Germany. They played a very good match. And I feel sad for Argentina, since my wife is actually from Argentina. But it's okay. She got a baby is coming in about 1.5 months' time, and this is also part of German. So I'm very happy, actually, and a bit sad, but actually more happy for Germany. I'm very excited.
Gunkelman plans to celebrate his team's World Cup title with famous German beer.
Since I'm far away from Germany, I will Skype with my family, my friends at home, and we have a beer together over Skype. So that's the only way what I can do at the moment.
And emotions were not only running high in Brazil and Germany, but right here in Fiji as well. Ernest says his family was ready to celebrate, even if Germany had lost the final.
The success was already to beat Brazil 7-1, and that was already, I said, whatever happens, we will celebrate.
The 24-year wait will at least have a 24-hour-long celebration for German fans all over the world. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
And on that note, here's Jamie now with sports, and what a pulsating final this morning in Brazil.
It definitely was, Jackie. I tell you, I watched the game on the FBC deck, and even the atmosphere here, thousands of miles away, was just as nerve-wracking.
I'm sure you have more coming up on Germany's celebrations.
Yes, we do. As expected, Berlin went into a frenzy right after the final whistle. We'll have pictures on that after the break. Sadly, though, also after the game this morning, violence broke out on the streets of Buenos Aires. Stay with us for the details.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore. I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala, kai me high. Tangi tau for me. Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot.
Mirchi FM, Bo Julum Julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. Substitute Mario Götze was the unlikely hero for Germany as the side defeated Argentina 1-0 in FIFA's World Cup final this morning. The impressive strike by the man dubbed Super Mario gave Germany its 4th World Cup title. Argentina had created more chances but failed to really test German goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. Young weightlifter Serwaya Malani is looking to make the most of a Commonwealth Games experience in Scotland later this month. Malani was one of the standouts for Fiji at last year's Pacific Mini Games, but the Glasgow Games will present a whole new challenge for the Ovalau lass. Talinda Dakadaka has more.
21-year-old Serwaya Malani is relishing the chance of going up against elite lifters in Scotland. This being her first Commonwealth Games outing, Malani will be looking to learn as much as she can from the experience.
I know it's gonna be tough. It's my first Commonwealth. It's for me, it's I'll be going there and see the big lifters. I'm gonna watch them and follow how their techniques are.
Malani's 3 gold medals feat at last year's Pacific Mini Games is now a distant memory as she embarks on a new quest in Glasgow.
It's a small game, in Wallis and Futuna. Like Wallis, competing with the Wallis, Wallis girl. But in this Commonwealth, it's gonna be different story.
Malani and her weightlifting teammates will depart for Scotland on Wednesday. Talento Dakadak, FBC Sports.
That was your Monday Night Sports. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Gordon Darcy-Lilo has reassured the University of the South Pacific of his government's commitment to fund half the cost of the 4th USP Doma Campus project. He says the commitment is a demonstration of his government's desire to see the Doma Campus project start as soon as possible. It is understood the project is delayed because of the inability to clear unexploded ordnances, explosive weapons such as bombs, cluster munitions and shells. Now about today's conditions, weather time with Trish.
Thank you, Jackie. Today's conditions, Suva was the only center with fine weather in the morning and later in the afternoon with scattered showers. The total opposite of Suva today was Nandi and Lautoka with occasional showers in the morning but with fine weather later in the afternoon. Ba with cloudy skies but with fine weather later the day, where Savu Savu and Lambasa had fine weather all throughout the day. Temperatures today, we had Suva on 27, Nandi, Lautoka and Ba on 26, Savu Savu on 28 and Lambasa hit 31. Tomorrow's forecast, we might have fine weather in the morning for Suva, Nandi, Lautoka, Ba. Later in the day, there might be cloudy skies. As from Ba, Savu Savu and Lambasa, fine weather all day. Image of the day, this is a photo up in Neitasiri heading up to the road in Vunindawa. It is looking toward the mountains of Neitasiri. Photo sent in by Felix Dolatana Vanua.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Recapping the headlines. Nandi accident leaves 1 man dead. Solomon Islands suspends Fiji Airways flights and no reduction in teenage pregnancy statistics. Now, we won't be having any poll questions and results for some time. From today, we'll go out onto the streets and ask ordinary Fijians questions relating to the upcoming 2014 general elections. We will ask one pertinent question every week and we'll give you, the public, the biggest media platform in Fiji, to air your views. The question this week is, what are the issues that will decide the elections for you? Let's hear what Fijians had to say.
I'd like them to talk about education.
I want the political party to talk about employment.
Political parties should focus on talking about
free education.
Political parties should talk on improving our roads.
I want the new government to continue with the new scholarship system.
Talk about improving healthcare.
We'll be speaking to more of you from around the country tomorrow, so be sure to stop and give your views when approached by an FBC camera crew. Now, remember, we will have a new question each week. Meanwhile, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow evening. Nimo Damanda.